Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be going through the Retail Financial Sales Performance Dashboard. This is a very typical type of report or dashboard that we set up for a variety of clients on the CPG side, the distribution side, and the retail side. It's essentially a financial performance tracker. It measures our sales, our volumes, our performance versus last year versus operating plans, and allows us to switch the point in time, the period that we're looking at, so that we can understand essentially what our gaps were at various points in time and how we may improve, where the products and divisions that actually pull through and help us improve to hit our targets for the year. So this dashboard presents a few metrics to us. A lot of it is simple to understand. Um, Typically, we show performance as a comparison, revenue versus op plan, in this case, operating plans like the financial plan we present to investors at the start of the fiscal year. There's various versions of an op plan. So I'll just go to the very right, select a target. Throughout the fiscal year, you'll see a lot of companies make changes to their operating plan because basically things change in the market and they readjust their numbers. These are called latest estimates. Some companies have a few of them. It's typical to run an LE1, LE2 throughout various points of the year. Could also compare to last year, but most of the time we're interested in our performance versus op plan because those are essentially the promises that we made to our investor groups on how well we're going to perform this year. As a salesperson, high level, when we do or we help facilitate business review meetings, monthly, quarterly business review meetings, these are the numbers people look at. Essentially, right now, in looking at 2019 August, we know we're about 2.4% off our plan. We had a few bad months throughout the year. January was really down under, and June sort of was equally under our op plan. We had a few good months in April, July, and August, but those collectively add up to about being 2.4% or $674,000 off our op plan. This is across the whole country, so you could see the states that are doing well. You can see the states that have some gaps and what those gaps are. You can see which products are sort of outperforming. Here we're showcasing products for essentially an electronics retail company. So we have things like TVs, gaming consoles, cell phones, laptops, and so on. Clearly our 55-inch TV category, sort of our largest here. And we could divide the country up into divisions beyond the state level. You see the Mid-Atlantic, sort of one of our largest divisions, but also the one causing sort of the biggest gap right now. Another metric that we use a lot in this type of reporting is balance of year. This is a comparison of growth rates between same time last year till the end of the year, given the gap that we have now. So essentially saying that, based off our performance last year from September to December, we need to grow 16% more to hit our op plan this year than what we did last year. And what we find in retail and CPG, I mean, sales and performance are pretty seasonal. It's kind of hard to achieve double-digit growth in established industries, right? So that's a little bit scary, that number, that balance of year, saying we have to grow, we have to do 16% better than what we did in the remaining 4 months of last year. Let's take a look at this. So I know that my TVs are kind of doing well. I know that my Mid-Atlantic region are sort of showcasing the biggest gap. Use a dashboard to kind of click around this. If I do click on the Mid-Atlantic region, I see it's, like typical states like New York. New York's a big market. Pennsylvania, New Jersey. New Jersey seems to be doing well. But in this region, TVs, my biggest product category, 55-inch TVs, are lagging. I do see that I picked up steam throughout the year, right? I had a really, really bad start. January was tanking. It was awful. But we did come back and we sort of have some high performant months. So in the Mid-Atlantic region, we're like 8% off op plan, and we got to grow at an astounding like 24% over what we did last year. Well, let's see what we did last year and where we ended up, because it could sort of inform us of how we're going to do this year. So what I could do is change the select point in time metric. I'm on this year, August 1st, 2019, but I could go back to August 1st, 2018, sort of get a picture of where we were in the Mid-Atlantic region at that time. 1 year ago, we were only 4% off plan, but we didn't really have like positive months. It looks like collectively, just every month was a little bit under, not as bad as a start to the year as we had this year. Last year was a better start, collectively leading up to half of the gap to op plan, 4% instead of 8% that we have this year. 55-inch TVs still having a huge drop, 65-inch TVs having 14% drop. My balance of year still at 20% instead of 24%. So I still have a long way to go. Now this balance of year when I'm in 2018 is comparing to my growth rate in 2017. So where did I end up the year? This is why this type of reporting is great, this point in time reporting. Based off my performance last year, I could see where I ended up. I could just go to December 1st, 2018. And I could see how we did in these various regions and product categories. Just give the dashboard a second to load here. Of course, there's always some lag given the internet situation at times. There we go. We can see that last year, we actually made an astounding comeback. What happened? We basically tanked in the months leading up to, busy time, which is the holiday time for us. Black Friday events in November, holiday shopping in December. And those few months, the performance last year in those few months was actually enough to basically, wipe out some of that deficit. Not everything, but we finished $18,000, off 18 actually. $18 million, sorry, this is in units of thousands. We finished $18 million off plan. We finished about 5% down. TVs had similar drop, 65-inch TVs, but we closed the gap on 55-inch. But we did have a few good months in November, December. Not enough to wipe out the entire, deficit. Was certainly expecting, an equal sort of comeback in the last few months this year. Overall, we could tell our investors, look, we're tracking the same as what looked like last year. Balance of year was comparatively down in August, and our revenue was off plan about 5%. We're actually a little bit worse this year. So we can expect, based off last year's performance, not to make up that gap. We didn't have a miraculous November, December, but we did close it a little bit. And perhaps if we change the plan to our latest estimates, we can see that our LE2 estimates for our op plan was slightly softer, and in fact allowed us to close that gap a little bit more. So these are how these point in time reportings and these financial tracking versus op plan or versus last year's used a lot in the industry. And most people, all they care about is this number here, like what can we do to get to plan. And these plans are sometimes set aggressively. Like if we compare to essentially our performance last year. Now remember, we're in 2018, so we're comparing our revenue to last year now. We're up 8% to 2017, right? We're actually killing it in the sales department, but our op plan, our operating plan, our promise to our investors of how much we would grow in terms of revenue was a very aggressive target. So it's okay. That's why we see a lot of these companies set these very aggressive growth revenues, and they really fight tooth and nail to achieve performance against that operating plan, even though they're actually performing quite well. And if we go back to sort of August of this year to kind of take a look at how we're doing, we're tracking like, a little bit above last year's performance, right? So compared to 2017, where we had 8% growth, now we're comparing to 2018, where we had 0.3% growth, so a little bit flat, but certainly, looking positive going into the holiday period here. So that's how these reports are used. Both the point-in-time reporting is useful to understand, the performance of last year, the performance at various periods throughout time to kind of give us a sense of what can we expect. Hope that was helpful. We'll see you on the next one.